Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching My Books to Me. Welcome back to another Top 5 Wednesday. Today's topic is forgettable books, and these are books that whether you loved them or hate them, you kind of have forgotten since you read them. I do want to point out that for some of these books I probably will end up rereading them. Some of them are ones I do want to reread, but for some reason they're just books I don't really remember too much about. Details are a little bit foggy. I do know for the most part I liked these books when I read them, so we'll see. The first book is The Pact by Judy Picoult. I think this is, out of all these books, this is the earliest book I read. I remember I read this back in high school. It's my first Judy Picoult book I ever read and I enjoyed it. All I know it is about these two teens who have grown up next to each other. They fall in love, they're going out, and then one of the girl ends up committing suicide, and it was part of like a suicide pact, but the guy didn't obviously die and they think he murdered his girlfriend. It's very intense. The only other thing I remember is that we get alternating time periods. We get like them growing up to now, all over the place. I don't really remember sort of the resolution or what really happened with this. I want to reread it. Like honestly what I remember wouldn't cover this many pages, so I don't know. I remember it was good. I remember I enjoyed it and it was a confronting read. That's it. Another book I read back in high school, actually a book I had to read for high school, was The Messenger by Marcus Zusak, and I remember I did kind of like this, despite at the time being like so annoyed that I had to read it for school, and like we had to read like a set amount before every single lesson we had, and it was just like, I have other things to do, I can't read like 5 chapters, whatever. I'd probably do it now. All I know is that our main character Ed gets sent the different aces with I think like a time and place on it, and he has to go and figure out what he has to do and try and like help these people that he's been given that what each card represents, and then that's all I remember. And I know that there's like significance between like what each of the suits represent to the people that he has to go to, and that he's not only helping them but he's helping himself, and that's really it. I don't remember. I remember, as I said, I enjoyed it a little bit, sort of, and I've always wanted to reread it to see if I still like it. But yeah. Then we have Nobody's Princess by Esther Freisner. This is the first book in the Nobody's Princess duology, which is part of this Princesses trilogy, which is part of this Princesses series. But this is about Helena of Sparta when she was a teenager as Helena of Troy. She does combat training even though she's going to be a queen and doesn't need to do that. She ends up traveling somewhere. There's something to do with a wild beast. I'm pretty sure it sets up the second book as something to do with Jason and the Golden Fleece. I honestly don't remember what the point of this book was. Remember that I enjoyed it, and I own the sequel, I want to read the sequel, but I think I definitely have to reread this one. It's a good book, but Then we have The Best Goodbye by Abby Glines. This is the 12th book in the Rosemary Beach series. And as much as I love the Rosemary Beach series, this book, and technically the final book, are books that I don't care about that much. And out of all of the books in the series, including that last one, I don't remember the point of this book. We follow, our main character that we follow is River, who is Blair's half-brother, Blair's like the original character of the series. We meet this guy back in the first few books. He gets featured in the book or two before this one. He actually has a really interesting plot twist in the previous book, which was interesting then, but it wasn't so much a focus in this book, and it was just a weird addition to the Rosemary Beach series. And his romance is with this girl, this woman who has a kid who he knew way back when. I don't even remember what her story was. I think the main reason why this is such a forgettable book for the series is because it felt so disconnected from the rest of the books. And while River is a character we had been introduced to, he wasn't a character I particularly cared about too much. The only reason why I was interested is because of the little plot twist that happens at the end of the previous book, which was When You're Back, which was interesting, but again, it was something that I felt was a weird addition to the Rosemary Beach series and the world of Rosemary Beach. I felt like this was just, I don't know, it was weird. And I'm in the middle of rereading the series now, and I don't think I'm going to reread this one. or the last one. I just don't know. Then we have, final book is Crystal Magic by Madeline Freeman. This is an ebook, so cover here. This is the first book in the Clearwater Witches or Clearwater series, something like that. I don't really know. I remember I really enjoyed it. It's about witches, and it's kind of about more the classical Wicca version of witches, and obviously crystal magic and that sort of stuff. And then we have a main character who I think lost her parents, and she befriends, I think she ends up befriending like the school biatch, and something happens, and there's like a twist at the end. I remember there was a twist at the end which obviously set up for the rest of the series. It was interesting. I don't remember. I do not remember anything of this book at all, and I know I really enjoyed it, and it's again a series I wanted to keep reading. I'm at the point now where I'm gonna have to reread this book, but I can't remember. It was about witches and Wiccan magic, and there was a plot twist. I think maybe someone came back to life. I think there was something to do with crossing over into the others. I don't know. All I know is the covers of these books are beautiful, by the way. So they are 5 books that I've kind of forgotten about. I don't remember what really happened in them. I know the gist of the stories, but not even like a good gist that I can be like, oh yes, that's what that book is. Or even a good enough gist of the story that I can recommend it to someone else, because I feel like I can't tell anyone exactly why this is a good book to read, other than that I remember enjoying it and I think I know what it's about. But I could very well find out if I reread these books that they're not as good as I remember them being, because I've forgotten the main points of them. There are definitely books that I do plan on rereading at some point. Let me know in the comments below. Firstly, if you've done this video, firstly, if you've done this Top 5 Wednesday video, or just let me know some books that you've kind of forgotten about but you remember either really enjoying or really hating, or maybe something in the middle. I don't know. I will link below to, no I won't. I'll actually link below to 2 reviews of these books that I've done. I haven't reviewed most of them, but the reviews I will link below, plus I'll link to actually the books in general on Goodreads, as well as the Top 5 Wednesday group. Come and join us because it's a lot of fun. I'll see you guys on the weekend with another video. Bye!